We are live. All right, so we are live here with Aixa Oliveras, who
Mhm.
is a figurative artist based in Miami, Florida, and she is creating artwork centered on sensuality, the divine feminine, and transformation. So those are some
Yes.
big concepts.
Yes.
And I'm sure, well, I'd love to hear what motivated you to pursue work like that.
Well, for me, it kind of came about organically. Really, when it really just all sprouted when I went to grad school at LCAD in California, and it just organically came about through the work that I was doing there. And I
Mhm.
was also like through that time going through a lot of changes because I had just moved from Puerto Rico to California, and
Mm,
also so that was a big change for
I
me.
bet. Yeah.
And also the Hurricane Maria passed by,
Oh,
went through the island 1 month after I left. So if I had
oh.
stayed one more month, it would have yeah, it would have been through in the middle of all of that.
Wild.
So it was a lot of all these different elements that were happening in my personal life that just made they just expressed themselves in my work. And
Hmm.
there's that element of transformation, of death and rebirth, of leaving an old life, an old identity, and like being born into a new identity. And that's where the sense of transformation comes in. So it's
Right.
always based on my own personal experiences, what I'm going through in my life. That serves as
Hmm.
fodder for my work. Yeah, that's where it comes from.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I find that with a lot of artists, especially in that figurative realm, it's almost like you're giving some kind of picture to that unseen part of yourself,
Mhm.
that like unseen journey. And your work kind of touches on like symbolism, and you have your own kind of visual language that you've developed.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's again like all that symbolism. Like I think flowers pop up a lot in my work because of that, because they're big symbols of sensuality and that
Hmm.
transformation, going from being a bud to blooming, into
Hmm.
the flowering and blooming. So I think that's why they
Hmm.
show up a lot in my work. And also the fact that they're really fun to paint. I just find them, yeah, I find them
That's
really
good.
fun to paint. Yeah.
Yeah. They're challenging to paint too, I
Mhm.
find. I find they're one of those images that they're repetitive in a
Mm.
sense. They're almost like a fractal image where
Mhm.
it's something, a pattern repeating itself. It's easy to kind of get lost in them, I find.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
and for me,
yeah.
that's part of the fun in it because I also like to work a lot with pattern, and
Mhm.
flowers have that inherent pattern to them. So it's fun for me to figure out like how the pattern fits one piece
Yeah.
with the other.
Mhm.
Although it can sometimes be challenging, roses especially, it can be pretty challenging because they have that repeating pattern and overlap between one
Mhm.
piece and the other. But again, that's also where I find the fun in it. Like I like being challenged in that way and
Mhm.
painting things that challenge me, like both technically and also like in terms of ideas artistically, things that challenge me because that's where I feel is the fun in it,
Yeah.
to be
Oh,
challenged.
absolutely.
Hmm.
Um, I've also, I think the first painting of yours that I saw was of, and I'm trying to recall it now. But it's of a female figure with her back exposed, and I think she had a tattoo on her back.
Yeah,
And
the
then
angel
does it run
tattoo.
into the background or something? I forget exactly
Yeah, it's
how that
like
piece went.
her hair is in a bun and there's a pattern
Mhm.
of red flowers in the background. Yeah, that's
Yes. Yeah.
Brazilian. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually, I feel like it's one of the best paintings I've done. so far.
Mm-hmm.
And that one comes from, again, that interplay between life and death, like death and rebirth. Um, and
Mm-hmm.
actually, yeah, now that I'm remembering, um, we had a session with the model because this was at LCAD, and they would bring
Mm-hmm.
models from time to time so we could take reference photos of them, which was super helpful. It was
Yeah,
really nice.
absolutely.
And I had finished my session with her, and she was putting on her robe, and she just happened to just turn around in that pose, turn around,
Mm.
about to put on her robe, and I was like, wait.
Oh.
And take a photo of you like this.
Yeah,
She's like, sure, no problem. So I took the picture, and that was the reference for that painting. It just came
yeah,
about really like spontaneously.
organically. Hmm.
Yeah,
And what's the she did have a tattoo on her back, right?
yeah.
Was
So that's
that
really,
in the reference or
yeah.
was that something you added?
Yeah, that's also in the reference. So she has that
Okay.
tattoo actually
Okay.
on her back. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's one of the things that made me go like, okay, stop. Let me just take this
Hmm.
picture because it
And
was
I
just.
find like
Mhm,
ink, like painting somebody's skin is hard, but
mhm,
painting somebody's skin where there's that ink underneath and and it's cool because tattoo ink stays liquid under the skin. So
mhm,
it has that like living element to it where it's it's catching the light in a certain way. So it makes it very difficult to paint. And
mhm.
I'd love for you to tell me a little bit about your process when you're painting a tattoo
Yeah.
because this is and it's fascinating for me and I've talked about it with my tattoo friends who they're more the occasional painter
Mhm.
and we've talked about like oil painting and whatever, and they're like, "Oh, that's so interesting." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's pretty weird."
Well, it was not easy. No,
No.
because the challenge is making it look like it's sitting in the skin as
Yeah.
opposed to on top of the skin. Yeah.
Yes. Hmm.
So what I was told was that to layer it. So I would have one layer where it's just the skin tone. Then I would paint the tattoo on top, and then I would put another layer of like a scumbled skin tone over it
Mm-hmm.
so that it looks like it's sitting within the skin as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to sitting on top. But yeah, it
Yeah,
can be tough. Yeah.
it's tough. Yeah.
Mhm.
I never had a formal education, so I just figured it out. But that's kind of what I ended up doing because I remember when I started painting tattoos on my figures, I did it once and I was like, I know this isn't gonna work. Like
Mhm.
right off the bat. I knew that, I was just laying it down so I didn't lose the design as I was painting the skin. And I was like, this isn't gonna work. This is gonna be one of those things where I'm gonna have to do this a few times. And like you say, layer it
Mhm.
to get that dimensionality because there's no part on the reference or yeah, even when you just like look at tattooed skin where it's one solid color.
Mhm.
It reflects and
Yeah.
refracts, and that's what makes skin so hard to paint.
Yeah, because it's very translucent. Like skin is
Hmm.
translucent. So you gotta at the same time capture that essence, like that translucency of the skin, while at the same
Definitely.
time getting that tattoo on there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you're
Yeah.
very successful at it.
Thank you.
I love that piece, and it's interesting how it stays with me. And that's kind of my gauge for like how successful is a piece is
Mhm.
like, do I remember it? Even if I remember it vaguely, like
Mhm.
you remember it, it stays with you, and it had more to it than just being a picture or a
Mhm.
pretty picture or whatever. There's
Um,
something deeper there, right? And I think that's where um, art can work on you,
mhm.
And do you find that like that art has helped you move through some of these challenges in your life?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely see it in a way as a form of therapy for me. Like that piece in
Mhm.
particular, Again, that was 2018. So I was still in California and still like processing all of these changes.
Mm,
And
yeah.
yeah, it's just, for me, it's a piece that's why I titled it Resilience, because it
Mm,
represents that for me. It's like you
mhm.
have that pattern of red flowers, that's nightshade flowers, which are poisonous.
Yeah.
And then you have the angel on the tattoo on the back, representing that inner strength. And these are all things that I wasn't consciously thinking about when I was painting it. Like, these are
Yeah.
things that that you find out and you see later on once the painting is finished. um,
Mm,
but yeah, it just represents the resilience that I feel that I have as a person who like lived in Puerto Rico and has gone through
mhm,
hardship, and
mm,
really like learning, like healing and learning how to like be comfortable in my own skin and to have that self-worth, and to
yeah.
really grow that self-worth in me. and
Mhm,
and yeah, that piece really represents that. So I think maybe that's why it also resonates with people, because I put a
mm.
lot of myself and what I was going through at that time into that piece. Yeah.
I agree. I think that that has a lot to do with a piece's staying power and why some things really, like some pieces really jump out
Mhm.
because it does feel like it really meant something. And at
Mhm.
the same time, the composition and the elements in it are not super complex. Like there's a simplicity to it, right? Like there's something about it where it is seems on its face like a simple-ish idea, right? It's a figure with a background, right? Like there's that to it where at first it's very digestible. That's what I've found about the piece. Like, oh, at first you immediately understand, but then there's this other undercurrent that where you makes you look longer, right?
Mhm.
And like you say, it's that I think that intentionality of the painter that comes through all of that, all of the composition and the skill and everything else. Um, I'm really curious, and you can share as much or as little as you want. Um, what motivated you to move from Puerto Rico to California? Was it just for education?
Um, Mostly it was for education, but also I felt at that time in my life where I had hit kind of a dead end. So I had
Mm,
gotten my bachelor's degree there in Puerto Rico,
mhm,
also in art, and
mhm,
I had um, like for a period of about 10 years, I worked part time as an administrative assistant while also
mm,
pursuing artwork, my art career on the side, and but I just
mhm.
felt like I had just hit a dead end. Like
Yeah.
I needed to expand. I
Mm,
needed to go into a new environment where I could be exposed to new ideas, to different
mm.
art styles, ideas from other artists, like, and I totally got that at LCAT.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, and
that's great. So
yeah,
you were
and
doing your MA there.
I did my MFA.
Hmm.
So I graduated in 2019, 1 year
Oh,
before the pandemic hit. So that was kind of
I was
crazy.
lucky.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I would not have
but
wanted to do that during
but
that
yeah,
period of time.
it was definitely one of the best decisions that I ever made, because
Yeah.
it really did expand like my mind. It expanded
Mm,
my art making, and you
mm,
can totally see the change, the difference when you see artwork that I did before and
mm.
artwork that I did after. Where before it was almost kind of monotone, like very earth
Oh.
tone colors, and
Mhm.
yeah, just by the color alone, it was very different.
Mm,
And then I head over to LCAT and I start producing work there, and it's like this explosion of
mm.
color and pattern, and it just like poured out of me.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
you can totally
amazing.
see the difference. Yeah. Mhm.
And was there like a certain mentor or somebody that really spoke to you in particular, or was it just the whole program?
Um, I think it was mostly the whole program. I mean, I definitely had mentors because they actually have a mentorship program there where each semester you can pick a mentor, like a professional
Oh, okay.
artist, to be your mentor and also an advisor. And
Mm,
they look at your work. They I think you yeah you meet with them about once a week, and then they come into your studio. They see the work that you're doing, and we have a chat about the work and what's working or what could be improved. We talk about ideas behind the work, and I feel like that's what really, I mean, the classes also were great. Like they were really
mm-hmm.
great. But
That's
the
good.
mentorship in particular was really, really helpful in helping
Mm,
me like expand and grow as an artist. Yeah.
mm. Yeah, I bet. I know I've often thought, because it's easy to be lonely. It's easy to hit a wall. It's easy to feel like this isn't good. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been looking at this for weeks and I
Mhm.
don't love it, or for I know for my own self, finding a cohesiveness is always very hard because I want to try so many different things or experiment so much that it's too much sometimes, and I have a hard time focusing. So I've always kind of thought, oh, it'd be so nice to have that sense of focus. So that's really good to hear because I have heard not awesome things about some art schools where some people will say, oh, well, it was just about theory and we didn't
Yeah.
really talk about how to paint or how to approach a career in art. You know, how do you approach a gallery? How do you make a portfolio? All these things that are very practical. I've heard more than a few people say that their education really lacked.
Mm.
And from good schools, like at least the people who I've talked to, they weren't like community colleges. They were universities where they just were not
Mm.
getting guidance. And
Yeah. And
so it's really good to hear you had a great experience.
yeah, and it's something that depends from school to school, but the general consensus seems to be that in terms of teaching people, teaching students how to like make a living and how
Hmm.
to have a business as an artist, well, that it's lacking, and
Absolutely.
it is lacking.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is lacking. I know for myself, I never had that opportunity, or even the time to devote to an education. And what I've been doing recently to just kind of help myself be more focused, I've been going to just like a business group
Oh.
and just they're I think the disconnect there though, because they are businesses where they're offering like they're electricians and they're plumbers and they're offering these like very practical things that people need. For me, I'll sit down and I'll listen to what they're doing and I'm like, I think the problem here is that like I have a business that I'm used to not making money with. You know? And
Yeah.
it's unfortunate. It's like you're always working, but it's not always returning.
Yeah, and the thing
Yeah.
is that that also goes into the whole starving artist stereotype
Yeah.
because that's what we've been taught. Like I've had that conditioning myself. I've had family members like one day they cornered me and they told me like the whole art thing is nice, but it's time to get a real job now.
Oh, wow, that's fun.
Yeah, and I remember thinking like I'm just gonna do my own thing, but just say okay, sure, whatever, to
Yeah.
to appease them, you know. But I hadn't realized until years later how much that stuck in my mind
Hmm. Yeah.
and how it burrowed into my subconscious. And it was
Yeah.
basically affecting the decisions that I was making because I had that conditioning in my head.
Yeah. It's hard to be
So
free, right? When you've got
yeah.
that in your mind.
Mhm.
And I think we all struggle, whether conscious or unconsciously, against what you're talking about.
Mhm.
Because and I've mentioned this before. I remember being like 5 or 6 and saying, I want to be an artist and have art in a gallery and getting laughed at by
Mm.
adults. And
Oh my
like, oh,
God,
that's not a job, honey,
that's
and it's a
terrible.
very, very young, people are
Yeah.
told that. And I mean, I think they had good intentions, right? Because even when I was a kid in the 80s, early 90s, like it wasn't considered a job where you made money. And it's almost always historically been that way.
Mhm.
So I get it.
Yeah, and it's something where you go like years later, you look back and you realize, yeah, they were doing it with good intentions. They were just trying
Mhm,
to watch out for me and
mhm.
like help me, but at the same time, it's looking at where they're coming from. And like in the case of those family members, they didn't have that much opportunity in their life to really
Yeah.
go for what they felt passion for.
Hmm.
So they had to settle. So it was the only world that they knew, the only thing
Absolutely.
they knew.
Especially in
So
a society like Puerto Rico, where you're
mhm.
really, um, I'm assuming, very underprivileged.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like there are areas that are very underprivileged, and we also
Mhm.
have our challenges. Like, for example, the water could go out on and
Oh.
on. The electricity goes on and
Oh.
on. Yeah, so we have those challenges.
Hmm.
It's, I mean, I haven't been there for almost 10 years now because I left in
Hmm.
2017.
Right.
But when I left, again, this was before the hurricane, but when I left, it was definitely better than it was, say, 20 or 30 years ago. But there's still hardship that goes on
Yeah.
there. There's still like families in like mountain towns where they have like no running water or their
Hmm.
electricity goes on and off. So there is that level of hardship and
Mm.
also that scarcity
Yeah.
that gets gets to you, and
Absolutely.
it's part of that conditioning, and you
Hmm.
feel that scarcity mindset because you came from a place where things were scarce.
Yep.
So yeah, so you
Oh
come to a
yeah.
place where it's totally different, and it takes a little getting used to, like getting out of
Hmm.
that mindset and seeing, no, actually you have a lot of opportunities here. You just gotta
Hmm.
get over that hurdle, of
Hmm.
your own mindset, which is what I've been working on.
Yeah.
Yeah, this past year, really, just working with my mindset. Hmm.
Yeah. It's funny, I just moved from a very metropolitan area to a very rural, just the whole province is pretty rural. So I came from BC, to Alberta. And it's similar to what you're talking about, where, um, so most of the areas I grew up in were very, I, I don't know how to say it, like poor isn't the right word. It's more like, it was a big city, so you have this street smart thing
Hmm.
where you move to somewhere out here. People think it's odd that you lock the door or you don't leave anything outside, or you still think like that, and to come to
Yeah,
a place where it's like quiet and peaceful. And the thing that people complain about on the Facebook groups for the town I'm in, it's like that there are cats pooping in their garden, and they don't like the train whistle. And I'm like, man, you guys have the best problems. Like, that's awesome. I just love that. As soon as I saw that, I was like, we're moving there.
yeah.
Like, and it was a process of decompressing and going, I'm safe. And I've never felt that way before. And you
Mhm.
don't realize that that's in your mind until you're out of it,
Yeah, yeah.
where you can really relax. And I don't remember having that as a child or having that at any point in my life till now. And it really is a process of like decompressing.
Mhm. Yeah, and I feel like that's pretty much what I went through when I moved to
Mhm.
California. It was a
I
lot
bet.
of decompression because it
Yeah,
was so different. I remember like first getting there and thinking like this feels like an alien planet to me.
I bet, right? Like
Yeah.
just the level of prosperity
Mm,
too. Like I would, and like I haven't been to California, but even just from the media that I've seen, I'm like, it's even different from here,
mm,
like very, very wealthy to the point of excess, right?
mm.
Like
Yeah.
very different. So
Mm.
I could totally see that.
Yeah. It,
Um,
it takes a little getting used to. Yeah.
I bet. Yeah,
Yeah.
it must have been and to some extent still a culture shock, do you
Mm.
find?
Yeah, definitely. For me, because in Puerto Rico, we tend to be, and not saying that they weren't friendly, like they were great,
Mhm.
but in Puerto Rico, we tend to be very friendly. We're very, you see, I'm just going to say it in Spanish, like amigable, like very
Mhm.
friendly,
Amicable?
very
Mhm.
welcoming. Yeah.
Yes.
And
Mhm.
I also like people were friendly in California as well, but not to that same level
Mm.
as back home. Yeah,
Mm.
and that for me was a little bit of a shock because it's kind of
Yeah,
like getting used to that distance almost
right.
that people
Do you
have.
do you feel like it was because of a shared culture or a shared like almost extended family kind of feeling in Puerto Rico?
Yeah, there's definitely that sense of
Mhm.
extended family. Like for
Yeah,
example, like people can greet each other over there with a kiss on the cheek and a
right.
hug, you
Yeah.
know, and over here you don't see that.
No,
Like,
no,
no.
not at all.
You greet somebody with a kiss on the cheek and they're like, what is wrong with you? What are you
Yeah,
doing? You
they're
know,
probably gonna charge you with some kind of assault.
like assault.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's something where I had to like be like, oh, okay, no, it's not like that
Mhm.
here. We gotta back off a little bit. You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
I bet that'd be wild. I know that I've been to because my dad's an immigrant too, and um, whenever we go back to where he's from, it's very much that same feeling of we're all kind of family because you have that shared culture. You have like sort of a shared like haplogroup or like genetic makeup, right? And there's
Mhm.
this sense of um we're all kind of in this together where I've never experienced that anywhere else, or
Yeah.
even just seeing other people that are complete strangers that I felt like shared like physical traits was really weird for me, having grown up in a very multicultural society to have that commonality. Um,
Yeah.
really different experience.
Yeah, and I feel like there's definitely that element there
Hmm.
where you go from a place where you're part of the group, like you're
Yep.
everybody is the same, right? And everybody has the same traditions and customs, and then you go to a completely different place where it's so different and you end up feeling a little bit like fish out of water kind of thing.
That's
Yeah.
fair. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think I feel that way, and I'm still in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
But because each province is so different, it has a similar feeling of being just feeling kind of different. You feel like the outsider.
Yeah, but at the same time, like people were friendly and welcoming. It really helped to be in the LCAT community because they were
Yeah.
super nice and super
Hmm.
helpful. And yeah, it just takes a little getting used to going from
Hmm.
one place where like Puerto Rico is small. It's like maybe
Yep.
100 miles across, and then
Wow.
you have California, where California is huge,
Yeah.
So that's also a little something to get used to, going from such a small place to a place that's like enormous and where it
Yeah.
takes, yeah, an hour to go from one town to the other. So there was also that element there of just adjusting to a place that was so different to where I came from. Yeah.
Absolutely. And
Mhm.
so did you find with your ALCAD group that they kind of became your familial group um even after your graduation?
Yeah, so I feel like because it happens when you're in the same class, you
Hmm.
develop those bonds, and there's still people from my class that I talk to, and we like send each other's work. Like we take pictures of our work and we send it to each other,
Oh,
or we help each other with things like let's say like teaching something,
mhm,
like, oh, I'm going to teach a drawing class, could you like give me some
mhm.
tips or pointers on this? I'm like, sure, no problem. And so it's those
Yeah.
kinds of connections there, so we do still feel that connection even
Mm.
years later, because it's been almost 10 years
Oh, wow.
since I went. Yeah.
Oh, that's wild. Like, I don't
It's
even feel
wild to
like
think about.
2019 should be that long ago. Like, that's
Yeah.
not, no, no. Um, there was something that you're talking about with the scarcity mindset, and it reminded me of a post that you made. And I messaged you about it like almost immediately. I was like, I was crying. Like, it touched me so much about just and I and maybe you should just talk about it because it was so poignant. Um yeah, I'd love to hear you just talk more about it.
Yeah. So it was a post about ancestral wounds and how we all have this wounding that comes from our ancestors. Like, from in the case of those family members that basically told me to do something else other than art,
Mm,
it's that ancestral wounding that is that comes from them not being able to live their lives the way that they wanted to, and also their own experiences and how that gets transmitted or passed down from generation to generation, and
mhm,
how it's like our job to recognize it, to have the self awareness to see that that's where it's coming from, and to approach it as not something that's they're not something that they're doing because they're against you, or that it's
mhm,
something like that, but instead that they're doing it from a place of them trying to help you. and
mm,
that and that now it's seeing, like, recognizing that and being like, I know that that's what you wanted me to do, and I know that that's what you feel is right, but I'm going to follow my own path, because the way that I honor my ancestors is by following my own path, and that's
mm,
how I honor them, and that's how I heal that generational trauma, because really that's what it's all about, is generational trauma that gets passed down because they couldn't live their lives the way that they wanted to, because
mm.
they were limited. They had limited
That's true.
resources. They were just limited, and they were operating from that limited space. So they were just
Mm,
trying to do the best that they could, but also deciding and saying, I'm not going to follow that just because you tell me.
yeah.
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 And I'm going to follow my own path. And I
Mhm,
acknowledge that those messages are there, like the whole starving artist thing messaging is there, but I choose to go another way. I choose
mhm,
to say that I'm going to follow my own path, and I choose to believe that I have potential in me, and I can fully come to that potential and
mhm,
follow my own path, and honoring them by doing
mhm.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that decompression where it's like, I know we struggled to find food in the past, but like we're okay now. Now
Hmm.
it's time to do this other thing we're built to do, and realize that that vision for our family, or like just kind of coming to that that fulfillment of your vision. And I'm so glad that you do. I'm glad that your art is with us. And there I've had these different points in conversations with people where I realize in that moment, like, wow, this person is here and they're alive. Like, especially with some of well, there was one girl, Abigail, where she's survived so much cancer. And I was like, this is so wild that I get to talk to her and like kind of encapsulate this moment of her life, because in a way that's such a rare thing, uh, having someone survive that was impossible generations ago, to
Yeah.
survive like ovarian and breast cancer.
Mm.
But she's like been baptized through this fire
Yes.
and come out the other side, and I have this honor to talk to her about this artwork that she's making. Like, it's so wild. And it's the same for every artist that I talk to. I feel like there's something about this moment where we get to get this insight into your life that maybe generations past you wouldn't have had the sustainability to make art. We wouldn't have this mode of conversation to even talk about your art. Like, it's such a privilege to get to like celebrate people's work like this. And really, like, artists are always kind of moving through these hard spaces and hard things, and it's like just really neat to have this opportunity and just connect with you. So I don't know, I just get overwhelmed with how cool that little piece is. Like, yeah, it's very neat. But
Yeah, and
yeah.
it's like each one of us in a way, it's a miracle that we're here. It's a miracle that we're
Mhm.
existing, that we're alive, you know.
Absolutely.
I went through my own like health issue a couple of years back where I had to
Oh,
have surgery,
yeah.
and it really brought me into like face to face with my own mortality.
Yeah.
And it was a possibility, like it was 1% chance,
Mm,
but it was a possibility that it could have been cancer, and thank God it
right.
wasn't.
Yeah.
But in the space between knowing and not knowing, like
Hmm.
that really brought me face to face with my own mortality. And I was just kept thinking like, there's so many things I want to do still. Like I
Hmm.
want more time, I need more time. Like this can't be the end, you know. And
Yeah.
then when it turned out that it wasn't cancer, like we all breathed a sigh of relief. And it
Hmm.
just really motivated me to be like, okay, like screw everything else, screw
Yeah.
all this mindset stuff getting in the
Hmm.
way. I'm gonna do everything that I possibly can to just go for it and
Hmm.
to like do what I want to do, even if I fail. And there have
Hmm.
been moments where I have failed, and looking at those moments of failure not as like the end of the world. And something that I've also learned is not tying that failure to your self-worth, that just because you
Hmm.
failed doesn't mean that you're a failure of a human being. You know?
That's so
Yeah,
true. Yeah.
yeah, like separating your self-worth from that and just seeing it as like it's just something that didn't work, and we can
Hmm.
learn from it. Like what can you learn from this that you can then apply later on when you try again? And I've been approaching it that way, and it's helped a lot in,
Hmm.
in developing things for me. And also, yeah, it's all due to that event where I was really faced with my mortality, and I had to take stock and be like, are you still going to be like puttering around, being afraid to do things, or are you just going to go for it? It's like the universe
Hmm.
saying, asking me that question. And I just said, like, okay, we're going to do this.
Yeah. And give it
Yeah.
your all. And
Hmm.
um and just on like that practical note, like what does a typical day for you, having to be a living artist,
Mhm.
what does that look like for you? Do you have like a full-time practice, or are you part-time, or how does that look for you?
Well, right now it's like part time in that I teach classes part time at a local college. So I
Okay.
teach drawing classes, yeah, mostly drawing and figure drawing classes there. So my biggest challenge really is time
Mm.
management. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. So juggling the teaching job at the college along with making paintings, along with posting on social media, along with Patreon, all those things.
All the
So
things.
yeah,
Yeah.
so definitely time management for me is where like the biggest stickler for me is that
Yeah.
is time.
Time.
Um, yeah,
Hmm.
but yeah, mostly what I do is like I teach twice a week at the college, and then the days where I'm not teaching, I'm either painting or working on social media. Although what I'm thinking of doing now is like scaling back a little bit on social media to get some of these pieces done because I have about 4 pieces in progress right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's quite a
Um,
lot. Are
yeah.
they large pieces or?
Well, 3 of them are smallish, well, kind of medium sized, and then the drawing that I'm working on is pretty large. It's like a 16 by 20, so it's pretty
Okay.
big. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a good size.
yeah,
Yeah.
and like I wanna like submit them to shows and all of
Hmm.
that. But then if I'm spending time like posting to like say 3 different platforms on social media, then it's not going to
Hmm.
give me time to finish these pieces. So that's why
Yeah.
I'm thinking of scaling back and just focusing growing my YouTube channel, posting
Hmm.
on Instagram from time to time, but fully
Hmm.
focusing on YouTube and then on my mailing list and also
Okay.
on my Patreon. Just scaling things back to bring a little bit more
Mm,
balance into
yeah.
things. Yeah.
I didn't know you, maybe you told me, but I must have forgotten. You have a YouTube channel. What
Um,
are you focusing on YouTube?
well, it's still kind of it's still in its baby stage, so I
Hmm.
haven't posted there much.
Hmm.
The videos that I do have are there's one on cleaning brushes, like best way to clean your brushes. Um, the other one I think was about drawing too, like also
Hmm.
drawing. But what I want to have for it is like a mix, which is for like basically gearing it towards both collectors and artists, like people that want to learn technique and
Hmm.
also collectors who want to know more about the ideas behind my work, the process behind it. Like I have one where I actually need to edit it, but I have
Hmm.
a YouTube video that I have planned where it's talking about one of my self portraits, the one where I'm wearing a green jacket and I'm
Okay.
standing like on a field of gold. So it's
Right.
titled A Fluorescent Self Portrait, and
Hmm.
that one is modeled after, because I took the inspiration for the pose. It's after Durer's self portrait at the age of 28, where,
Okay.
yeah, where it's the first time where an artist presented himself as like this figure of authority, of
Mm.
power, having that power.
Hmm.
And I use that pose for my painting also as a way to assert my self-worth and assert that power, kind of like an icon in a way that I can
Right.
see and look at and remind myself that I have self-worth and I have that power within me. So that
Hmm.
piece is the one that I'm going to be talking about in that YouTube video, and just talking about a little bit of the process and the ideas behind it. So I want my
Hmm.
YouTube channel to be like a mix between those two things. So if you're like a student, an art student, or a fellow artist, there's something there for you. If you're looking for technique, or if you're looking for like the ideas behind my work. And if you're a
Hmm.
collector, you also have things that you can look for in terms of process and the ideas behind my work. Basically, you get to know me a little bit better as an artist through
Right.
there. Yeah, and
Yeah.
why I paint the things that I paint through there.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And like, what would you say are your primary influences as an artist?
Um, well, these are things that it was through grad school that I realized it.
Hmm.
It's mostly symbolist works, so the works of Gustav Klimt, Alphonse
Hmm.
Mucha, like late 19th century work, kind of like
Hmm.
Victorian, a little bit Victorian,
Hmm.
um, because I'm just really like attracted to that sense of sensuality and
Hmm.
like the like expressing that sensuality because that's also an expression of life force, like a
Right.
creative force.
Hmm.
And like through that time, like in the case of Gustav Klimt in particular, it was very much about the sensuality of woman. There's also during that time the idea of the femme fatale, so the idea of woman as dangerous, that kind of thing. But
He's gonna
he
get you.
danger.
Yeah.
But he presented it in a way that also honored that sense of sensuality in woman and
Mhm.
the feminine nature of woman.
Right.
Yeah,
Hmm.
which
I
I
feel like,
feel is go ahead.
yeah, it was a very bohemian concept at the
Yeah,
time, right? Where it
yeah,
was very much about that, about our natural selves. I think
hmm
that was the beginning of the Age of Reason,
hmm
right around that period. So
yeah,
it kind of makes sense, right? Where they're kind of tapping into this idea of nature and yeah, like has all those like intellectual notes in his work.
mhm.
It's really
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely like again, this is something that I realized later on, but there's definitely that sense of bohemian. Like I'm very attracted to the bohemian
Hmm.
aspect of things and
Hmm.
nature and just like feeling and sensation, like very earth centered. I think that's also
Hmm.
why I paint flowers so much because they're that
Hmm.
connection to nature. And yeah, those are basically my influences, like very almost like yeah, it's symbolist and also a
Hmm.
bit of surrealism in there because I like to create these worlds where it takes you out of the everyday and
Hmm.
you're transported into this world where you're just surrounded by all these like this sensuality and feeling and emotion.
Right.
Like that's
Hmm.
that's really like what inspires me to
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's really cool. I would say Clint was an influence on me as well, and definitely Muka. Like they were very popular too when I was a kid. So I think I saw a lot of their work. Um, I'm curious because there you do use a lot of gold leaf in your work. Is that from that Klimt influence, or was there something more before that that kind of shaped you?
Well, it's definitely influenced from Klimt because
Mhm,
I've loved his work since I was a teenager. So there's
mhm,
definitely that. Also, where I first started to really delve into it was also in grad school. That's when um, I had another student, a colleague, teach me how to start applying it, and
mhm,
it was one of the first times where I started to apply it, and I just fell in love with the reflectivity of it, of how
yeah,
it changes according to the angle of the light. So it might look
mhm,
one way when you like present it like this, and then when you do this, and then it just looks
mhm,
completely different and like brilliant. And
yeah,
yeah, it just feels like it's got a life of its own and it brings that light and that life into the work. Although it is
mhm,
not easy to handle though. That
mhm.
no. No,
No, it's not.
that
It's
that goes
not at all.
like one you
And
get one like page of it, one leaf, and if
mhm,
you're not careful, like any type of like wind or breeze would just make it go
yep.
fly off.
And it tears and it's kind of
Yeah.
translucent and oh
Mhm.
yeah, it's tricky to apply and to
Yeah.
apply well. I would say the first few times I used it, I look back at it and I'm like, ugh, this just doesn't look good. Mostly because it's a lot of what makes it look good is your technique in making it adhere to the piece.
Mhm.
Right, like burnishing and all of that, like, I had no idea about any of it,
Yeah.
so I was
Well,
just messing around.
yeah. In the case of mine, what I do is a technique called oil gilding, where instead, because when you do the burnishing, that's with water gilding, so that's a completely
Right.
different process, which I haven't learned yet. The one
Okay.
I learned was oil gilding, where basically you have the gold and then you have the size, the glue, which is
Mhm.
oil based. So that's
Right.
where the name comes from. And then you would apply the size onto the surface and then wait a few hours until it's like tacky. And then you put the gold leaf on top.
Right.
So, in that sense, it's a little easier than water gilding. But
Mhm.
at the same time, I do want to learn water gilding because the adhesive is basically water and rabbit skin glue. And
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't use, um this is what I use. I don't use the rabbit skin, I use, this guy, so
Ah, okay, that one.
The
Yeah.
speedball, yeah.
Mhm.
Just that's what I found at the art supply store. They're like, "Oh, you need this," and that's what they
Mhm.
gave me. Um, so that's how I did it. But yeah, it's quite the experience. And
Yeah.
the metal leaf that I had, it was I think it was maybe 22 karat, like it wasn't purely 24. And it's a long story, but I basically bought this gold leaf and silver leaf off an art curator who had um who had an artist doing an artist residency, and then he committed suicide,
Oh.
and so he was selling his supplies
Mm.
that he'd held on for 25 years. And
Wow.
so I didn't really know the gold content of the leaf. And it
Mhm.
was through experimentation that because I tried to seal it with the wrong kind of seal and it changed it. It made it
It,
green. It
oh,
kind of like made it oxidize. And I was
oh
like,
boy.
what is happening here? So I had to go through this whole process of finding the right varnish to seal
Mhm.
it with. But that was good. It's good to go through those experiences, but it was
Yeah.
frustrating at the time.
Yeah. You definitely learn, but at the
Yep.
same time, it is frustrating because it's like you worked on this painting and it looks great, and then you
Hmm.
seal it and it's like now it's green.
Yep. Now it's
It's like that's
ruined.
like
Yeah.
ouch.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
frustrating at the time. Um, but what I've always done, and I don't know if this is normal, but what I've always done is I will gesso, prepare the piece, whatever, and then I will leaf it first
Mhm.
and seal the gold leaf and then paint around it or on it or whatever. Um,
Yeah.
and that's just always how I've done it. So luckily I didn't ruin a painting
Mhm.
because I
Yeah.
wasn't sure how to
It would.
layer the oils any other way. Because I'm like, well, I can't seal it with that because it's oil, right? So I've always kind of built my layers that way. I don't know how the other
Yeah,
people do
and
it.
that's actually how the Russian icons were done, and that's how they
Okay.
do it with the Russian icons. Is that they will put the gold first, and then burnish it and everything, and they will leave, like say, like the Christ figure, they will leave it blank, and then
Right.
once they make sure that the gold looks good, then they'll paint the Christ figure. So yeah,
Right.
you're actually following that same
Okay.
process. Yeah.
Yes. I did it right. Yeah, that's just always how I figured this has got to be how you do it. I don't know,
Mhm.
right? But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I
That's
mean,
the F around and find out method.
mhm, pretty much. Yeah, which is
Yeah.
basically what they also did because they didn't know,
Hmm.
they didn't have anybody to tell
Yeah.
them how to do it, so that's how they figured out how to do it. So
Yeah.
there you
Yeah.
go. Yeah.
Totally. And I mean,
Mhm.
it's great because especially when I was first on Instagram, um, around I want to say 2015, 2016, something like that. Um, there was a lot more artists just like giving out free material advice.
Mm.
Now it seems like it's more of
So,
a closed thing.
yeah.
But there was a lot of that at one point where it was like,
Mm.
this is what I use, and this is then I do this, and then I do that. And I think a lot of how I work are derived from these little tidbits of advice that people just put on their stories.
Yeah, and I have noticed that too, where with Instagram it has become a little bit more closed off. And
Hmm.
also, I don't, there's probably changes in the algorithm and things like that. But it's
Hmm.
like there isn't that same sense of interaction between
Hmm.
people that there used to be before. It's one of the reasons why I want to move also to YouTube because that way I can get to post longer videos where people actually get to see, like, know me a little bit better
Hmm.
versus, say, a 15-second video, you
Yeah.
know, of me painting like really fast, you know?
Yeah.
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 So, because really what I want to do is create that community and grow that community and just be there for each other because I feel that we're stronger if we help each other and if we have that community, it makes us stronger as a whole.
Hmm.
So that's really one of my goals with the YouTube channel is to create that sense of community. Same thing with the Patreon. Like the Patreon,
Yeah.
I have it geared for collectors so that they have a place where they feel they can have that sense of community and not
Hmm.
only interact with me but also interact with other collectors that are in there. So
Yeah.
yeah, because I feel like we're pretty much like siloed off, like
Yeah.
individualized in our own little bubbles.
It's true. It's so
Yeah.
true. And I feel like too, the last little while, I feel like I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't
Mm.
post. And it doesn't matter where I post, it doesn't matter what I do. And I feel like a lot of artists feel like this because we feel like we have to be a presence, but it's really not what the algorithm wants. It's really
Yeah.
not what Instagram is like making money on.
Yeah.
And so they don't really, it's not really an artist platform the way it used to
Mhm.
be.
Yeah.
Uh, which is, that's just, I think that's just the way apps go eventually, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, and so for me, when I was thinking about what should I do, I I really came to this point where I was like, it doesn't matter what I do for
Mm.
everybody else. I just kind of need to do what I want to do because again, I think it kind of comes through the work, right? Like
Yeah,
when and
exactly.
I've noticed this where I've done a few of these chats now and people have said, talking through that really helped me decide that I am going to go and do this piece I've always wanted to do because why not? And I feel like that's the real benefit is what yeah, this is great. It gives if people watch it, that's awesome. These chats tend to be pretty long. Um,
Mhm.
but it's really like mostly just an expression of you in the moment and this exchange where we can we can kind of I feel like it's good. It's like it's just a way to kind of work through things. And if that's
Mhm.
all that comes out of my YouTube channel, cool. You know, like
Yeah.
I don't think I'll ever be super popular or, anything like that. I'm just very much living in the moment at this point
Mhm.
because I feel like I've tried everything else. And
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone else feels like that, but I definitely am in that place where I've tried it all. I don't care anymore. Just let it all
Yeah.
hang out. Yeah.
And the thing is like there's like you like creating something to get validation from other people and
Mm,
versus you doing something because you feel that it's just something that needs to like be created, that is just
that's the
being within
difference.
it.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
You put it in words beautifully. That is totally what it is. It's like I just want to
Yeah.
make something cool and I don't really care
Yeah.
if it gets likes or not.
Yeah, and like throughout, like I've been on Instagram for like since 2015 now, so I've
Hmm.
seen it change a lot, and I've come
Hmm.
to the point where it's like, if my post gets one like, okay, fine, it gets one like. If it
Hmm.
gets zero likes, fine, because at the end of the day, the likes really like they don't matter. Like what matters is that you're sharing your message, and even if people don't like hit like, some of
Hmm.
them might still see it even if they don't hit like or even if they don't comment, because that's how people are like consuming content these days. They just like consume it, they see it,
Hmm.
they like in their minds they like it,
Yeah.
but they just keep scrolling and keep going. So in a way it's like
Hmm.
not taking it personally if it
Hmm.
gets low likes or low engagement, because it's also like due to algorithm stuff. So really, it's not personal. It's not something that you're doing wrong. It's
Hmm.
just the way that people consume content these days.
Yeah,
So
it's
it's
true.
basically just saying like the hell with all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just post what you want to post, share what you want to share, and
Hmm.
trust that it will reach the people that it's meant to reach. And eventually
Hmm.
it will, even if you're not seeing the tangible result of it right now, right away. Trust that it will reach the people that it wants to
Hmm.
reach. Like for example, the post that you mentioned on ancestral
Hmm.
wounds, like that one didn't
Hmm.
get like a bunch of likes and things like that, but it reached the person that it needed
Yeah,
to reach. So
totally. And in
in
a
that,
moment, right? Like
yeah.
I felt like that post was like for me because I was in such a place where I was feeling like everything I did fell apart. And so why am I doing this?
Mhm.
Um, and I've always been a very motivated, very determined person. I'm never gonna quit. Like I'm always gonna keep going. And I was in a place where I wanted to quit. I was like, what is this even? I should just not do all of this, not expend all this energy. Um, and maybe I should just have a clean house and all the laundry done for once in my life.
Mhm.
you know but th- this is where I think being an artist is so hard because it is unconventional, and it is
Mhm.
like being the weirdo of the tribe, right? Whatever tribe you're in, I
Yeah.
feel like there is an element of being an artist that's like being that visionary or being like
Mhm.
prophet or whatever you want to call it, being the person who sees things that nobody else sees, is a very lonely place.
Mhm.
And when you're constantly trying to create work that you hope somebody will see the value in and collect, and when that doesn't happen, you're like, okay, well, I'm not socially acceptable.
Mhm.
I'm not monetizing this thing. I'm not, like all these boxes you're not checking off. and you start to hear those voices of, well, I told you so. I told
Mhm.
you this wasn't going to work. You should have become an accountant or something that people need.
Yeah.
you know and yeah, so that did really touch me, and I was like, yes, no, I'm on the right path. you
Oh,
know you kind of have to. I feel like it's like a almost like realizing that over and over again and
mhm.
reaffirming that, because it's not an easy path.
Yeah, it's definitely not easy, and there are times where you're gonna feel, yeah, like an outsider, like you're
Hmm.
going against the grain and not
Hmm.
following like the group, so to speak.
Hmm.
Um, but it's in those moments where you got to remind yourself, like, what is your purpose? What are you here to do? What do you love? What do you love to do? What is your passion? And is that
Hmm.
more important than for you than following the crowd or being like, I guess, like accepted or part of the group, or following the same route in life that everybody else has followed? It's basically asking yourself what is more important for you, and what
Hmm.
is it that you love, and if that overrides everything else for you, even if you might go through hardship, you know, at some points, or even if it'll feel lonely, or that you feel misunderstood, like having that be your North Star, and having that be the thing that guides you. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a tricky one. It's hard to
Yes.
do.
It's definitely easier said than done, but
It is, yeah,
Mhm.
totally. But um I'm curious too, like with what you're making, and figurative work tends to be, especially in this postmodern society, very unpopular. Do you have some kind of goals with your work, that like, do you want to sell a certain amount, or is there like a prize that what is your ultimate goal with your work right now?
um, well, there's certainly things like competitions and shows and things like that. But ultimately, for me, those are all just stepping stones to the ultimate goal, which is basically to have people own my art, so that they
Mhm.
can have that experience, that otherworldly experience, and they can
Mhm.
feel that joy when they have that art. Because for me, that's what it's all about, is
Mhm.
people acquiring my work and having something that they resonate with, that they feel seen by, that, yeah, that they feel that emotional resonance to, and gives them that joy, that happiness.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everything else is like ancillary. It's like it's a stepping stone or supporting that ultimate goal. So
Right.
that's why, like, for example, like this drawing, I'm thinking of submitting it to the Beautiful Bizarre Art Prize. Yeah, even
Mhm.
though that's a tough competition, that has a lot of
Yeah.
competition. But yeah,
I
but
know.
still.
I see it all the time, and I'm just like, I've
Mhm,
yeah, I've tried in past years, and I it's such a huge pool of artists,
mhm,
um that I just, yeah, I feel like, oh, no.
mhm,
Maybe when I feel more confident in
mhm.
my work, then I'll try again. But
Yeah,
I
but it's
yeah.
it's one of those things where it's almost like a lottery system. It's like a lottery. You put in your
Hmm.
ticket and you see if you win it or not.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
definitely. I
That's
think it
why.
does fall into that category.
That's why I also talk about like not basing your whole business structure around just like submitting to art competitions,
Right.
because it is basically like a lottery, and it
Hmm.
depends also on the jury, and like what the
Hmm.
jury likes or doesn't like.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's
so
very particular. in
Yeah.
that way, right? Where you almost have to wait till it's somebody that you think would resonate with your work.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, so there's definitely that. But um, so would you say like your barometer for success is knowing that your works have found homes? Is that like that's kind of where how you're
Yeah,
gauging that? Yeah.
yeah. Basically, like that it's found a home where people are really happy with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that they
Mm-hmm.
feel like the artwork like enhances their life,
Right.
and just, like they see that painting on the wall, and every time they see it, they just feel that joy and that happiness
Mm.
and that emotional resonance again. Yeah, I think
Right.
that's one of the reasons why collectors collect, because they just feel that relationship and that emotional
Mm-hmm.
resonance with a piece that just really like enhances their life. And
Mm-hmm.
for me, the success is for my work to find a collector that resonates with it that way, and
Yeah.
that they would feel like overjoyed when they
Yeah.
receive it, and
Mm-hmm.
overjoyed to have it in their home. Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like having moved from Puerto Rico to California that that has expanded that potential for a collector base?
Yeah, I think so, definitely. The internet also helps.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
does. It
yeah.
helps.
Because I have collectors. One is in New York. I have a couple in Florida, not in Florida, in California as well.
Mhm.
One of them actually, because I had that piece, Resilience, the one with the tattoo. It
Yeah.
was on the faculty show at LCAD, because I taught for a year also at LCAD,
Oh, nice.
and
Mhm.
the lady saw it in the show. She fell in love with it. She told her mom about it, and her mom reached out to me without telling her daughter, and basically bought
Mhm.
it for her as a Christmas
Oh,
present.
wow.
Yeah,
That's quite the
yeah,
Christmas present.
indeed. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I feel
So
like that one popped up in my feed quite a bit. I feel like wasn't it in Beautiful Bizarre or it was in a
uh,
magazine, I thought.
yeah, it was featured in Beautiful Bizarre, because they reached out to me and a few other artists about putting in
Mhm.
their, yeah, it was in their community feature.
Okay.
So it
Yeah.
did get included in the
Yeah.
magazine as a community
Nice.
feature. It also got included a few years back in American Art Collector as a
Okay, yes. Yeah.
spread. Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that painting has been popular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it was kind of like a cornerstone piece for you.
Hmm.
Like, and I think that's probably why it was my introduction to your work. And I think a lot of people, I think that's probably where they found your work to be. If I'm correct, I think I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like that piece is where everything just clicked together. Yeah, everything
Yeah.
just like clicked, and it all came together, and like both the message and the technique came together
Mhm.
really well. And I feel like, yeah, it's why it's so popular, because everything just came together like perfectly
Mhm.
in that
Do you
piece.
ever find yourself trying to capture that again?
It's tempting. It is tempting to like make like a copy of it and try to, in a way, like mass produce it.
Or like just like catch that feeling again? Do you ever find yourself trying to do that?
Not consciously
No?
though. No.
Mm.
I feel like there's other pieces where I do get close to that. Like there's one called Phoenix Rising, where it's me and it's nude, but I'm covered
Mhm.
by a robe, and I painted the phoenix behind me on a field of gold. And
Right.
like I have it here, and I still go by
Mhm.
it and see it from time to time, and I'm like, man, that that's one.
Yeah. That's one I still like that. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, there's some pieces where you make them and then after a few years you're like, I don't know. And then there's
Yeah.
other pieces where you see them years later and you're like, damn, I was on fire when I did that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I know.
Hmm.
There's a few pieces like that that I've done where I'm like, I'm never getting rid of that. That one's
Hmm.
like I gotta hold on to it because it I don't know. It means more to me than it probably ever been to anyone else. Like, where it's just something you just never really want to let go of.
Yeah, it's got like that little bit of magic in it.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
where you have a
totally.
little bit of like of yourself in there
Hmm. Hmm.
and you
Yeah.
see it reflected back to you every time you see it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a
Hmm.
weird thing. I love that quote by Bernard Shaw where he says, we hold up a mirror to see our reflection, and we like look at art to see like the inner reflection, like the reflection of your soul. And I think that's very, very true, especially about pieces of work that are very explorative, because you're not going to feel the same way about, say, a pet portrait that you're going
Hmm.
to feel about like a symbolic piece,
Yeah.
right? Or a landscape, or right.
Mhm.
Not often anyway are they going to have the same weight that a piece that's really got a lot going on, a lot of ideas, a lot of inner dialogue kind of being put out there.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like it's also those pieces that it's reflecting a little bit of what you're going through or who you
Hmm.
are. Yeah, and again, it doesn't have to be something that's conscious. Like a lot of the times for
Hmm.
me, it happens unconsciously where it just gets transmitted onto the painting. And
Hmm.
yeah, I find that those pieces are the ones that really have that magic to them because you
Yeah.
really are including a part of yourself in that piece. Yeah.
Absolutely. I found
Mhm.
that too, where especially with this last body of work that I was building, where I had people modeling for me and they had props and I really just picked them because I was like, I think these look cool.
Mhm.
And we're doing this whole photo shoot and everything, and I take the photos away and I look at them over time, and it doesn't become clear to me till months later that this was so much more than just models and props, and like these symbols were like saying something really deep about my own thought process and my own, and two, they change in the time from the point where you plan them to when you go through that action of painting them. And then I changed certain elements or transformed certain elements that had kind of a dark meaning to have
Mhm.
sort of a different meaning. And that was like a symbol of my own
Mhm.
mental transformation. And I just love that journey that that you go through, that you work through, and
Mhm.
how it reflects that inner journey. And otherwise, I think everyone's going through something like that,
Mhm.
but we have this unique experience where we're putting it out there into a physical object that other people just
Yeah.
they don't know. It's like a dream. You forget about it, but
Mhm.
we don't. We're
Yeah.
like documenting it and
Mhm.
like putting it out there for the world to see. So a very different, very unique experience.
Yeah, and I feel like that's where the magic is. Like you're basically
Hmm.
because for me it's like I feel like artists we're alchemists, we are
Mm.
magicians. You know,
Yeah.
we transmute things. Like we bring
Hmm.
things that are not that don't exist in the physical realm yet, that are only in the realm of ideas, and we create them
Hmm.
and we bring them into reality. And
Yeah.
for me, it's like using those like personal experiences. You're
Mhm.
transmuting that. You're transforming it, and like transmuting it into a piece of art where all that personal symbolism is there, and
Mhm.
it can be seen by other people, and you're creating something out of nothing,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah.
It's a
So.
weird thing. It's definitely a
Mhm.
strange experience, and I have heard quite a few artists make that allusion to alchemy or and it's interesting that that's one of the overlaps between science and art is where
Mhm.
they both kind of are working through an idea um and coming to this end and pulling it almost it seems like it's from nowhere in a sense. Um, but yeah, it's bizarre in a lot of ways. Like and people are always kind of I feel like people outside of the art world are always like, what do you even do? What are
Mhm.
you even doing? And it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't I couldn't tell you. Like I'm doing
Yeah.
something,
It's
but
like they
putting
just
a
don't
word on
understand
it, I don't
it.
know.
Yeah. I think that's also where the whole like mystique around like artists and talent comes from, because they
Right.
just they just don't understand it. They don't understand how, again, like they can bring something out of nothing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I don't think it is out of nothing. There's obviously something there where
Mhm.
we're giving maybe not nothing, but something that isn't in this physical world
Yeah, like a
a
spark.
place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's definitely that creative spark that happens um and this hidden thing becomes visible.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and we
Yeah.
get to transmute it and bring it into the world, into the physical realm, which I
Hmm.
feel is like one of the like most amazing things that we do.
It
Really.
is
Yeah.
pretty amazing. It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
It's a very tricky thing to quantify.
Mm. Yeah.
Right? And
Mhm.
and two I feel like that's probably why a lot of artists whether you're a baby artist or you've been doing it for a long time, in some ways it's hard to put a dollar sign on it.
Mhm.
Do you find that? Yeah.
Yeah. For me, it can definitely be difficult, because it's like, how do you put a dollar sign on something that you pour your heart and soul into, that is so personal to you? Like,
Mhm.
how do you monetize that? Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like we we do live in a capitalist world, and we do need to make money.
Hmm.
But also, that monetization of it is a representation of the value that it has, not just monetary value, but the value that it has not only to you but to other people, like, say,
Hmm.
like a collector,
Hmm.
and I've heard it said too that pricing is marketing. So if
Hmm.
you, say, have a small painting or drawing, and you price it at, say, $50 versus the same one at like 100 or 200, there's that, like, right away, just because one is lower than the other, some people might assume that because it's cheaper is not high quality.
Right.
It's, yeah,
Hmm.
it's not higher quality, and then they pass you over because, oh, it's too cheap. When really, like,
Hmm.
it's been drilled in our heads that no, you got to make it affordable. It's got to be cheap.
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
you're an emerging artist. You can't charge too much. All that stuff.
Hmm.
So it can be challenging
It can be challenging.
to
I still
figure
feel
that.
like I don't think I fit that criteria anymore to be an emerging artist, but I still feel like I am. Like I don't know if you ever feel like you've arrived.
Not really, no.
No. Like
Yeah.
I look at I always look at the emerging artist criteria because I'm like, I think oh no. I guess not. I'm like, ah, darn.
Yeah,
But yeah,
and
it just always feels like that never stops.
yeah, and I feel at the end of the day, it's still just labels, because
Yeah. Oh
humans,
yeah.
we tend to like to categorize things and put nice little neat labels on things to like make things more manageable and controllable.
Hmm.
But
And
the
fair.
reality, yeah, but the reality is that I feel like we're all like a work in progress, and there's not like
Hmm.
this like one marker or milestone that says, okay, you're not an emerging artist anymore. you know,
Hmm.
even though
Yeah.
you might feel like it's still you're not an emerging artist anymore, when
Hmm.
really like I don't put too much importance into that. I go back to like what is my idea of success, and for me
Hmm.
it's finding people that will be happy with my work and will be happy to
Hmm.
have my work, and that my work finds good homes and makes people
Right.
happy. Like that's my
Hmm.
idea of success, and everything else is just like corollary,
Hmm.
supplementary to that. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. I know one of my worst nightmares was the thought of my artwork ending up in a thrift store.
Oh.
And then it happened. I actually had a print from when I first started painting, came up in one of these thrift store finds. And to be fair, it was like one of my first oil paintings, and but people were making fun of it, and it really hurt.
Oh,
It was like, this is my worst nightmare. It's right
oh
here,
no.
right now. And but it's funny when you face that. When you face that and you're like, I'm still alive. Like I survived
Yeah.
that um that worst nightmare. And yeah, it was a wild experience. It was like, this is awful. But
Yeah.
at the same time, it's like, well, that's like you worked through that. You came through
Hmm.
that and
Yeah.
um
It's like the
yeah.
the world didn't end. You're still
Nope.
alive.
I'm still
You-
alive.
You're still making art.
Hmm.
Like it's
Yeah.
it's one of those things where it's like the ego makes everything life or death.
Yeah,
And yeah,
totally.
it's one of those things. And then you actually go through the situation, and you're like, actually, I'm okay. The world
Hmm.
didn't end, and I'm still
It
alive.
didn't
So
end. And and it had this profound effect where I I don't want to say I felt good about it, but it almost made me feel good about it
hmm
because I took that chance to fail
hmm
immediately before I was really good enough to be making prints. I I made prints and I sold them and I put it all out there and I feel like that's just part of being an artist is like you're gonna make so many mistakes and you're gonna gamble so hard with
Yep.
this thing and
hmm
you're gonna fall down a bazillion times, but it's the times that you got up that really, like you say, that resilience is
hmm
what makes you an artist, right? Yeah, it's constantly getting up. It's constantly like falling down, getting up, falling down,
Yep.
getting up.
It's like,
Yeah.
well, this didn't work. Okay, what can we learn from it? Let's get back up. Let's try again. And we keep
Mhm.
going and trying and trying until we find the thing that people resonate with and the thing that works. And then you go,
Mhm.
oh, okay, we got it.
Mhm.
It's kind of
Yeah.
like a video game where you're trying to pass a level and you keep failing at passing the level, and then suddenly you figure it out and it clicks and you're like, oh, I did it. I defeated the boss. I'm past the
Yeah.
level. We're in the next
Yeah.
level. It's very similar to
Mhm.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. And the boss was very mean commenters on Facebook.
Yeah.
Was like, okay, yeah, okay, it kind of sucked, sorry, but like, man, I was like a little
Yeah.
baby artist. That's some compassion. But
Uh, the
yeah,
unfairness. mean
it's
commenters on Facebook.
yeah, it's like
Mhm.
I don't know. They say that you've arrived when you have a troll. So I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, okay, I arrived. It's okay. I'm fine.
Yeah.
Um, I guess I also wanted to ask you about mental health because
Mhm.
this is like a big part of surviving, right?
Mhm.
Is have you had issues with that or struggles
Um,
or
well,
is it
mostly it was during the pandemic, like everything that
mm-hmm,
happened with the pandemic, that I started to get anxiety, like
mm,
really bad anxiety.
mm-hmm,
Um, because it was again just a lot of change. Also, because it was because of the pandemic that I had to move from California to Florida, where I am now,
mm.
and I'm
Okay.
living now with family here in Miami.
Okay.
And yeah, so I'm very thankful that I have my family here and they're very supportive and they
Hmm.
help me out. But still, it was not an easy, easy
No.
process.
And you
You
just
know?
had moved from Puerto Rico, right?
Yeah,
Like that must have been a lot.
yeah.
And so what are your like coping strategies to kind of deal with
Um,
that?
well, what I did was, well, I did find a therapist and she
Hmm.
helped me out. And basically, because what happens with me is that I tend to ruminate and overthink, and just
Hmm.
it's just a worry, the constant worry. And
Right.
it's just affirming myself, like giving myself affirmations that no, actually, I am okay. I have a roof over my head. I have enough food
Yeah.
to eat. I have a family that supports me. Like breathing exercises too
Hmm.
also helped, and just cultivating that support network,
Right.
and like going to therapy, and also having, yeah, just having that therapy really really helped. And I feel like
That's good.
I'm in a much better place now.
Hmm.
There's still moments from time to time where something catches me off guard and I start to freak out again.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
but now I feel like I have the tools to manage it better.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. I mean, I think that's the most important thing is having some
Mhm.
kind of way to cope with whatever it is you're dealing with, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because
Mm.
there was a point before I found this job here at the college. I was like 2 years unemployed,
Oh,
and I was
wow.
still, yeah, for 2 years I was looking for work and I couldn't find work, and
Oh, wow.
I was still receiving unemployment from California, but that
Hmm.
eventually ran out. But yeah, that caused a lot of stress and a lot of
I
anxiety.
bet.
Yeah. So
Would.
yeah, so it was not only that, but also everything with the pandemic, where there was this mortal threat hanging
Mm.
over everybody's heads. You
Hmm.
know, that's what did it. Because before then,
Right.
I didn't suffer from anxiety at all. Like the pandemic was definitely the trigger for that.
Right.
Yeah. But I have been able to, like with therapy and what I learned in therapy, be able to manage it better. And I
Hmm.
feel like I'm in a much calmer, better place now
Oh, that's
than,
good.
yeah, than what I was like 5, 6 years ago when it all started. Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
Mhm.
well, that's good. Do you
Mhm.
feel like any of that has kind of come through in your work or not really?
Um, I think it does, but in more subtle ways. I
Hmm.
think it's like me painting the feminine and painting that resilience. It's my way of like supporting myself and of bolstering myself.
Hmm.
Um, Same thing with that self portrait of me, and with the field of gold. It's that way of me,
Right.
kind of like, it's kind of like a visual pep talk for me.
Right. I like that.
where
Yeah.
where I go like remember who you are. like your message
Yeah.
is this is what you
Hmm.
have in you, like all
Hmm.
of this stuff is just stuff, like this is who you are,
Right.
and it brings that strength, it reflects that strength back to me. So
Hmm.
I think that's how it gets reflected in my work. It's not so much about me um, creating images that reflect that anxiety, but more about creating images that help alleviate or
Hmm.
give me that comfort that alleviate
Hmm.
that anxiety. Yeah.
Right. Hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, it's a tricky one, but it's especially if I found, especially if you're the kind of person who's like creating very symbolic work. You can't help but entertain some of your issues,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like
Yeah.
they'll manifest in some way. Um, and I've found that with painting, where it feels like I can't paint now. Like you go to
Mhm.
paint and you're painting, you're sitting there for hours and hours and nothing works, and you just, what am I doing wrong? And then you realize, no, it's just I haven't been paying attention to this thing,
Mm.
and I need to work through this thing. And then once you do that, it's like, oh, okay, now everything's fine. But it's like this incongruent thing in yourself that you
Yeah.
almost have to like deal with.
Yeah, because it's like you can't be creative if you're stressed.
Yeah.
Like if
Hmm.
you have something in your mind that's stressing you out, that like blocks your
Hmm.
creativity. So that's
Absolutely.
why you gotta learn like how to manage it and not necessarily resolve it, but more like manage it so
Hmm.
that you go back to baseline and then
Yeah.
you can be creative again. Yeah.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And I mean, I've had these points where it's like I'll completely compose the piece and I think, yeah, I know I'm not my head isn't in the game, but I've got it all worked out. I know what I'm gonna do. I just have to go through the motions essentially. And I found out very quickly that even that just doesn't work for me anyway. And
Mhm.
then I have to kind of stop myself and go, you're still upset about this. Like we have to kind of deal with it before you can do this,
Yeah.
And it's that's been wild.
Mhm.
It was something unexpected. I never thought I would encounter with
Mhm.
painting, but that's how it works for me. I don't know if that's a universal thing.
Yeah, well,
But
it definitely, like for me, if there's something that is upsetting me or that I feel too preoccupied with,
mhm,
that can interfere with things, what I find is that one of the tools that I've learned is just to feel the emotions, like instead of bottling it up, just
mhm,
feel it. And whether it be writing on a journal, just let it out, let it
mhm,
all out. Let out everything that you're feeling, everything that your
mm,
brain is telling you,
yeah,
everything. And that helps to like clear my mind and like
mhm,
flush out all the emotion. And
mhm,
then I can
mhm,
like see it from a distance and be like, okay, this is just something that's happening right now. It doesn't have a bigger say on me as a person or on what I'm capable of or anything like that. This is just a feeling. It's what I'm feeling,
mhm,
and let's just feel the feeling
mhm,
and flush it out and allow us ourselves to feel. Because I feel like a lot of the problems too that happens is that we don't express those feelings. They start getting bottled up,
right,
and that's when it
mhm,
starts to manifest into physical symptoms,
mhm,
like physical illnesses, and that just makes things worse.
mhm,
Yeah, so
yeah. And
it's better
I
to
think
just
too,
feel it.
if you come from a people group that has had to do that for so
Mhm.
long, there you find like higher instances of health issues that are probably purely from that, from
Mhm.
like just those imbalances in in your physical and your emotional and your like spiritual state.
Hmm.
Um, mm, I heard a quote once, and it was feelings. I can't remember the exact wording, but feelings are meant to help you help you drive you towards safety, essentially.
Hmm.
It was the gist of it. Um, and that's what they're for. They're like a device. They're supposed to help you realize, okay, maybe I'm in an unsafe situation. Maybe I'm, like so that you change whatever you're doing. And when you ignore them, then your mind goes, "Oh man, we're
Hmm.
unsafe and you're not going to protect me."
Yeah.
You know, and that's where it can become a really, yeah, like a whole holistic nightmare.
Yeah, and that's why I feel like it's definitely important to just feel the thing.
Yeah,
If you're
yeah.
feeling sad, go ahead and feel sad. If you are
Hmm.
feeling happy, feel happy,
Right.
But also at the same time, like do a bit of like introspection and ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? Like, why do I
Hmm.
feel sad? Why do I feel happy right now? Or why do I feel concerned? Or why do I feel worried? Like,
Hmm.
really have that introspection and that self-awareness to
Hmm.
go deep inside and ask yourself those questions, because you can learn a lot from that.
Hmm.
And learn a lot about yourself, and learn about like what your triggers are and what's really going on, like what's
Hmm.
really making you feel that way. Sometimes it could be somebody treated you a certain way, or it could be something that happened in childhood that still hasn't been resolved, things like
Hmm.
that. So that's another way that feelings can be really important signals, because they help you point towards those
Hmm.
things that are
Yeah.
happening in your subconscious that you're not consciously aware of. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Mhm.
know, and I've talked to this one counselor, and I was she was showing me this kind of therapy. You might actually find this really interesting, especially if you're into that surrealism vein. It's called sandbox method. And so it's very much allowing yourself to kind of tell a story through symbols. And in a way, it's kind of like a guided thing. Um, and so she was showing it to me, and this method, and all this stuff came up in this session, and I was like, I don't understand why these things keep coming up. I thought I resolved them. And she said that when you um and she was talking from experience of having done this for like I want to say 30, 40 years. She's like, we find that people who do therapy, they'll get to a certain age and these things come up again and come up again. And 10 years later, they come up again. And she's talking about how, as you grow as a person, you have to resolve that over again with
Mhm.
your older self.
Mhm.
Because, especially if you're talking about something from childhood, you, after you've been the mother, the grandmother, like you have to keep on resolving that because you're changing. And
Mhm.
that was really interesting because you I always thought, well, you fix your problem and then you move on and it's done. But the mind isn't like that. our
No.
our minds are way more complex than that.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of like the whole onion metaphor, where you have all these different layers
Hmm.
of the onion, and then you think, oh, okay, I peeled one layer of the onion, it's done. Like, there's
Hmm.
no more layers to peel. But no, actually, there's more, because I
Yeah,
feel
there's
like again,
constantly more apparently.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because
Yeah.
it's like I feel like it's very true what you're saying, in that you change and evolve and grow, and like you're a different person in a way, and then
Hmm.
like it comes back
Hmm.
to then you as this new person, new identity, to process it again.
Hmm. And
Yeah,
incorporate it again,
and
which
incorporate it.
from that new perspective, which was I thought, well, that's actually really cool. Like it's kind of
Mhm.
neat that we do that, and that we
Mhm.
have to do that. Um, and this is why I just cannot accept that artificial generation of images will ever compete with an artist because they don't
Yeah.
go through anything really. They're just, basically a search engine. Uh, because like really real art has to be that expression of a person's personal journey,
Mhm.
personal, whole thing. Otherwise, I don't think it really means anything.
Yeah, I mean, I've had students like this was a few years back tell me, like, ask me, like, what do you think about AI and
Hmm.
how it'll replace artists and all that stuff? And I told them, yeah, I don't think it will. I'm not worried because
Yeah.
what it can do is just bring together a bunch of images and put them and arrange them in different ways in the style of, say, of one artist or another, but it doesn't have that artist's personal journey. It doesn't have their
Hmm.
feelings. Like, it's a machine recombining things to suit a
Hmm.
prompt.
Hmm.
um, that's why it tends to look so like slick, smooth, and
Hmm.
cold, because it
Yeah.
doesn't have that human element involved.
Hmm.
Because humans, we're messy, we're imperfect, we're messy, and we're
Hmm.
complicated, and
We are.
that gets reflected. Yeah, that gets reflected in the work, in the art, and
Hmm.
machines are not able to replicate that.
No.
So that's why I'm not worried about it now. Do I think that AI, the way it's being used right now in terms of image generation, can be unethical? Yes, I do, because
Hmm.
a lot of those images were that they mine from come from artists' work, and they're taken
Hmm.
without permission, just
Yep.
so they can recombine them and have somebody say, um,
Hmm.
do like put my self portrait in the style of Hayao Miyazaki, you know,
Yeah.
something like that, and
Hmm.
like sure, it'll look like Miyazaki's work, but it doesn't have the soul of Miyazaki.
No.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I
Mhm.
think too, it's uh and I touched on this with another artist. I think that it is lowering the value of and the taste of people. It's almost like it's giving people a very cheap visual diet.
Mhm. Yeah, it's
Um,
kind of
yeah.
like, let's say, it's kind of like fast food
Hmm.
versus a gourmet
Yeah,
dinner at a five-star
exactly.
restaurant.
And unfortunately, I think that a lot of people will consume it, right? When you
Mhm.
think about fast food, it's never gotten out of style as soon as it was invented.
Mhm.
Which is unfortunate, right?
Yeah.
It creates it creates a health issue for a lot of
Mhm.
people who even if you don't consume it regularly. Um, but I think to other than the environmental issue
Mhm.
that of course big data centers are going to generate. So other than that like natural world issue that they create with fresh water of all things, something that we can't make more of. um,
Mhm.
so there's that aspect, but I think too when you talk about that cultural aspect, um, I've started to see it everywhere
Mhm.
where it's like a flyer for an event. Well, that's AI. And um, yeah, you see it all the time now, and just your average everyday person using it, and they think it looks great. They think it's wonderful,
Yeah.
and you're like, it's not good. It's
Yeah.
like not good at all. I would rather you take a piece of paper, write your event down in Sharpie, and like Xerox
Put
it
it, yeah.
in like a
Copy it.
Xerox
Yeah.
machine from 1992
Hmm.
than that, because it's just like just visual garbage. It's
Yeah.
so chaotic and inaccurate. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know why people like it, but
Yeah.
I think
And the
that's that
thing is,
education piece.
yeah, the thing is like it's about visual literacy, and unfortunately, visual literacy and media literacy is also very low.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
that's why people don't like can't tell the difference or don't know
Hmm.
any better because they haven't been educated, you know.
Hmm.
And like you have art programs being gutted because they see like STEM, like science and math being more important because again it goes to that sense of, oh, the arts, you can't make money off of art,
Yeah.
so you gotta get a real job. You
Yeah.
know?
It's true. And I think,
Hmm.
like, unfortunately, um, education in my area have discontinued a lot of art, theater, music programs because you can't get a job in it out of college. So the province won't fund it.
Hmm.
And they don't realize how much they're harming
Hmm.
the their that sense of culture of they don't realize what they're doing to the future because they're just thinking about right now.
Yeah.
This person can't get a job. Well,
Yeah, they're
that's
basically
not.
thinking about like the bottom line. That's what
Hmm.
they're thinking about, the bottom line. And
Hmm.
the thing is that with the arts, they also help you develop your critical thinking skills, you know,
Yeah.
and that's also something that I've seen like reflected in some of my students where they have a lot of trouble like thinking critically, you know, and
Yeah.
analyzing, you
Hmm.
know. And it's sometimes a struggle because you're like, let's say you ask them a question on a test and they just give you the most bare bones answer
Hmm.
imaginable, and you have to tell them, okay, like elaborate, like
Yeah.
tell me why
Hmm.
you think this way. And they
Hmm.
just can't, they just go because it's this or it's because like that. And
Yeah.
that's it.
And I think that
Yeah.
goes back to the education system not really
Mhm.
teaching children how to learn, right?
Yeah.
Or how to reason.
Hmm.
Um, Whereas there was a time when that was the goal of education, where it was, you have a problem, I'm going to teach you how to solve it. I'm not going to give you the answer. I'm going to teach you how to solve it.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, that's a big one that's being lost. But then it's easier to control a society that
Yeah,
just gives perfunctory answers instead of knows how to solve problems.
exactly. And that also takes things at face value and they don't
Hmm.
question
They don't see
things.
the deeper
Yeah,
meaning or anything behind it.
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
and it's part of that dumbing down of culture,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Is it's twofold, right? It's education and it's exposure.
Hmm.
If you don't have those things, then you lose so much potential in a person,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
They don't have that curiosity. They don't have the skills to figure something out for
Hmm.
themselves, unfortunately.
Yeah. And then you get people just accepting things done by AI at face value.
Yeah. And they think it's
Yeah.
great because it's done for them. And
Hmm.
and
They
they
don't,
get more
yeah.
time to play, I don't know, a video game or something like that. I don't
Yeah,
know.
they don't have to go through the effort, but the in the effort is
Mhm.
where the value lies because that is where you learn through the
Mhm.
effort. And they don't realize it, but they're being robbed of that. They're being cheated out of that. And since they don't
Mhm.
see it, they think it's a great thing. But really,
Yeah.
they're being cheated out of it without even realizing it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Hmm.
This is a concept that Frank Herbert, so he's the author of Dune, was
Mhm.
exploring in his Dune trilogy, um, where he's looking at the society that is very comfortable and has all this technology at their fingertips. But because of that comfort, the human condition is rapidly decreasing. And
Mhm.
so this figure that ends up being created, um, well, I won't spoil it for anybody, but this god figure that he creates um, oppresses everybody. He becomes this force of oppression
Mhm.
throughout the galaxy because for the purpose of creating a stronger human race,
Mhm.
because he sees into the future and he's like, well, if we keep going down this path, we are comfortable, but we're going ultimately going to be destroyed. So if
Mhm.
I oppress everybody and make everything hard, they will eventually pull my empire down and pull it apart, but the human race will survive. So through me being the bad guy,
Mhm.
I am helping everyone survive. And there's something about that, about going through uh hard things.
Mhm.
And again, we come back to resilience, right? It creates resilience. It creates a stronger uh, you see this in plants, you see this in animals, you see this in everything. Where there's hardship, those things come out stronger and better.
Yeah, and they also like they learn from that hardship,
Hmm.
and it's like say in the case of a plant, they evolve into different variations and permutations that wouldn't have been possible if they hadn't
Hmm.
gone through that hardship. So it brings
Hmm.
more of that variation and enrichment because of
Hmm.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely adaptation is amazing. And they found though that it's kind of a misnomer. We actually don't create variety when you make something like now that we can sequence the genome. In a lot of ways, they turn off genes, and it makes that gene pool less diverse. But I mean, it's still alive. I mean,
Mhm.
that's the one thing. And they've done this with, I want to say it was beetles, a type of beetle that they subjected to um was that like a pesticide, and they adapted to survive without that pesticide. And you see this in the bubonic plague too, right? Where 10% of people survived, but like that honed down that genetic group so much. They're so much lost
Mhm.
that one expression survived. um but it survived, right?
Yeah.
That's the one advantage. But it is really interesting how hardship and trial seem to produce much like a lot of resilience and a lot of really incredible things, leaps and bounds
Yeah.
in some cases.
Exactly. Hmm.
Hmm.
Totally. Hmm.
Yeah. So we touched on this just before we came on. You were talking about an avenue that you were wanting to go down. Can you tell us a little bit about your upcoming project?
Yes. So
Yeah.
I've been thinking of offering a one-on-one mentorship program. So it can be
Oh.
like slash tutoring program where people can sign up to me and to my program one-on-one, and they can learn anything they want to learn about technique or anything that they're struggling with and they need help with. Um,
Hmm.
I can help them with that. So I've been thinking of like either doing one-off sessions where you can just schedule one session with me and see how it goes, And
Hmm.
if you're like interested and want to learn more and keep working with me, then we could do like a package of say 3 sessions or 5 sessions.
Right.
But that would depend on like what the person's needs would be.
Right.
But yeah, it's basically like a mentorship program where basically I would be like an open book,
Yeah.
and yeah, and like
That's
if
cool.
there's anything you want to learn, say about oil painting, drawing, anything that you're struggling with, like say like if you're struggling with the figure, with portraits. So it can be like
Hmm.
anything that you need help with, then
Hmm.
I would be here to help you with that.
Wow. That's
Because I've
cool.
done, oh, thank you. Yeah, because I've done courses before, and courses have helped people. But in this way, if you want more individual attention, like one
Yeah.
on one with me, then you would have that like undivided attention with me, and
Hmm.
I would just focus on, yeah, on helping you reach your next level as an artist.
Hmm.
Yeah, so
And
that's
so
sort of.
do you have like an ideal kind of person that you're looking to mentor?
Um, well, it would be probably somebody who's already dived into art and who's probably been like drawing or painting for a few years, but they still feel kind of like a novice, like they don't really know, like
Hmm.
like they don't have a lot of direction and they feel a little bit lost. You know, like
Hmm.
I would be there to give them like a clear structure that they can follow so
Hmm.
that they have some guidance and some direction.
Right.
Yeah, so
Hmm.
in that sense, like I would take a look at their portfolio and then I would give them a critique of their portfolio, what I feel is working really well or what I feel
Hmm.
could be improved, like which areas in terms of technique could be improved. And from there we can
Hmm.
develop a tailor-made plan for them to help them improve their technique.
Hmm.
We could also talk about like conceptually if they're struggling with how to come up with ideas for their work or
Hmm.
like how to express that in their
Right.
artwork. Yeah, we could also develop a plan for that. So really, it would be very tailored to each person's needs. So that's
Hmm.
why we would probably like get together for like a free call, like 30-minute call before we do anything, just to get a
Yeah.
feeling of where they need help or if it's a good fit, things like that. And then if it
Hmm.
is, then we can go from there and
Yeah.
start, and I can start tutoring or and mentoring. Yeah.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And so is this something that I know you mentioned you had Patreon and it's more geared towards your collectors. Is this something that you do subscription based through your Patreon or is it some other way?
So for now, I would like to keep my Patreon more for collectors. So this
Hmm.
would be like instead of subscription based, it would be kind of like hmm, not necessarily a membership, but we just go by like a trial basis.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, basically like if we set up a session, it would be like one payment for that one session. And then if we find that you need more sessions, then we could do a package with a payment plan that you would then like pay over time. And that would be
Hmm.
done all through my website because what my website
Right.
has, I'm with Squarespace, so they have the
Hmm.
Squarespace payments, and they're really good with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and with
Awesome.
Stripe. So it would probably be through a payment plan. Yeah.
Right. Something like
Mhm.
that. Okay.
Mhm.
And so if people wanted to read more about it, where would you want them to go and find more about it?
Well, this is really, really new. It's a new
Okay.
offering I'm doing,
Okay.
so I don't have the
Heard it
page.
here first.
Like you heard it here
Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
um, but eventually the web page will be ready. But if
Hmm.
they do want to like talk to me about it some more, and if they're interested, they can always reach out to me by email or
Hmm.
through Instagram. My Instagram is Aixa _Oliveras, and then
Hmm.
my My email is aixa@aixaoliveras.com, or
Hmm.
just go to my website and reach out to my website, which is my name. My website is pretty much
Yeah,
just my name. Yeah, and
it's
they
your name.
can, yeah, reach out to me through there, and yeah, I'd be happy to talk to them about it and see
Hmm.
what their needs are and how I can help them develop their technique and be the artist that they want to be.
Yeah, and that's such a trick. And I know we talked a little bit about awards, but tell us a little bit about more about your achievements because I think this has, you know, a lot to do with why would people choose you over someone
Mhm.
else?
Um, well, let's see. So I have works both in public and private collections. So public collection would be one in Puerto Rico called the Reyes Veray collection. So I have one of my
Okay.
paintings there. My work is collected all throughout the United States. I've participated both in group and solo exhibitions also across the US. I
Hmm.
also have one of my, well, actually, like three or four of my artworks were included in the Lunar Codex, which
Right.
is a
Hmm.
collection that was sent to the moon. So my work is
Hmm.
actually on the moon.
Yeah, that's something
Yeah.
I think that's where we kind of we have that in common because we were
Hmm.
both in that in a gallery together,
Hmm.
33 Contemporary, where they
Hmm.
were really, really like just documenting so many of these pieces. A very unexpected but very cool project
Hmm.
to be a part
Yeah.
of. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
That was
really,
pretty
really like
amazing.
focused on female figurative artists. So I
Hmm.
think a lot of the artists that were featured in it were women, and it was the first time women have art in a time capsule on the moon.
Hmm.
It was
Yeah,
very exciting
totally.
to
And
be.
it's
Yeah,
just, it's kind of mind blowing, to be
it
honest.
is.
Like,
Yeah, and
future,
whenever I say that to
yeah.
people, my art is on the moon, they're like, "What?" And I'm like, "I know, it's weird, but it's very cool."
Uh-huh. It is pretty cool. And to think
Yeah.
like future generations can go there and our work is going to be there and they can see it.
Yeah.
It's wild.
It is
Yeah.
wild. It is
Hmm.
very, very cool. Huge honor.
Hmm.
Huge honor to be a part
Yeah.
of.
Yeah,
Um,
totally.
and then you were mentioning you did your BFA and your
Yeah.
MFA. So
So,
very you've got a lot of education
mhm.
behind you too.
Yeah, so I got my BFA in the School of Plastic Arts in Puerto Rico.
Hmm.
I also was in a mentorship program with two artists. Um, it's called Atelier San Juan,
Oh, cool.
which
Neat.
is like
Yeah.
they turned it into a school, and so I was in a, yeah, in like a scholarship program with them for about
Okay.
5 years. So that's where I
Wow.
got my foundation in drawing the
Hmm.
figure and painting the figure. So the artists are
Hmm.
Luis Borrero and Amberly Acoppo. Those were my two mentors.
Okay,
Um,
cool.
yeah, and then I got my MFA at Laguna College of Art and Design,
Hmm.
and I've been teaching now for 4 years, for almost four
Wow.
years now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of experience, like not only
Hmm.
creating the art, but also teaching people how to make the art too.
Hmm. And I think this is so valuable when a teacher or a professor or whatever actually is a working artist
Hmm.
and can actually speak to the market.
Hmm.
Whereas I have encountered students who've told me, "Oh, this is what my professor said," and I'm like, "Darling, that's not true anymore. Like maybe 30, 40, 50 years
Yeah,
ago that was true, but
but
not anymore."
not so much anymore.
Um,
No.
no, this is like old news,
Hmm.
and this person should not be saying it.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I've definitely heard of that. And so it is very valuable to have a teacher who also works in the field you want to be in.
Yeah, because they have
Hmm.
that firsthand experience and they know what how it's
Hmm.
like and what it's
Hmm.
like to navigate it, because it's not an easy
Mhm.
thing to
No,
navigate. Yeah,
no.
so
And I
that's
think too, we're in a unique time where artists can really interface with the collectors one to one
hmm
and cultivate those relationships. And like that's a whole kettle of fish trying
hmm
to doing that, doing it in a professional way to, you know, yeah, I mean, not enough people talk about those very practical things,
hmm
how to set up a solo show, how to, approach galleries, how to cultivate a collector base. Those things are hard,
hmm
and there's not a lot of education that I've heard about anyway. Is that something where you feel like you're going to be able to help your students in?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like a 50-50 thing, because I feel like I'm still learning a lot of those things myself.
Mm,
But I also feel that I have enough experience now to be able to help them, at least to like set up a strong portfolio that they can present, so that
right,
when they submit to galleries, they're presenting a cohesive work with a point of view, because
right.
that's what they're looking for. Um,
Mm-hmm,
like things like how do you put together images to submit to shows? Like, what
mm-hmm,
image resolution do you need to do that? What are the
right,
parameters for that? How to write an artist statement?
mm-hmm,
How to put together a press release? All those
right,
things
mm-hmm,
that, we end up having to like look around all over the place on the internet to try to figure out how to do. you know?
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I mean, a lot of the things that you read, they're not actually going to work.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
I have read a lot of different takes on how to write an artist statement,
Mhm.
and I would say maybe a few of them are right and most of them are not. Right? Like it's kind of like resume building websites.
Mhm.
There's lots of different ways to do it, but what is the way that's going to work?
Yeah.
That's the real trick.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I feel like that's very similar to the whole journey as an artist as a whole. There's not like a one
Hmm.
size fits all
No,
thing to being an artist. It's very individual to you. So, in a way, it's
hmm.
good because you get to decide
It's
what you want
true.
to do. Like
Hmm.
you get to decide what is success for you, what your
Hmm.
journey, what your path is going to be. And like you don't have to stick to one model to do it.
Hmm.
You have a lot of more, yeah, creative freedom to do
Yeah,
that.
it's
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
hmm
I know that when it comes to artist statements, I'll have an artist statement and it'll work for one organization, and then you use it to submit to another thing and they'll send me feedback and say like, "Well, I really wish that you'd written it in this
mm
rather than this," that whole writing it in third versus first person,
hmm
right? Like some places want a different thing, and you don't know.
mm
A lot of times it's hard to tell, like, oh, what would they want here? it's
Yeah.
that's tricky.
Yeah.
And a lot of trial and error,
Yeah.
definitely.
I think it's like also sometimes you can just ask them, be like,
Hmm.
what do you want? Like, what are the requirements? How do you want me
Hmm.
to submit this?
Hmm.
'Cause, yeah, that's something that we could also do. Just ask. You know?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good one. Not a lot of places not a
Mhm,
lot of places say that, but oh
mhm,
yeah, you can just ask it. But yeah, it's a good point. Most places you can
mhm.
just ask them, well, what exactly do you want?
Yeah,
Right?
because it's like
Yeah,
you can't give them what they want if they haven't told you
it's
what
true.
they
Hmm.
want. So
Hmm.
yeah.
And that's such a subtle thing too, right? Where I would have only figured that out by doing it wrong a bunch of
hmm
times.
hmm
And one place it's fine, one place, but yeah, you figure it out over time. A
hmm
lot of trial and error. But
Yeah.
if you can kind of find somebody who's already done all that and ask them, I feel like it
Yeah.
kind of helps propel you a little bit faster through this whole world.
Yeah, because you have a guide that can help you. Yeah.
Hmm.
And I feel like like again, it's that sense of community of us coming together as artists and helping each other because yeah,
Hmm.
it's not an easy thing to navigate. Like there's no rule book
Right.
that tells us
Mm-mm.
how to run in our career.
Yeah.
Um, so it's through like that support and helping each other that we can lift each other up
Hmm. I
and
think
help each
even if you did write a rule book, it wouldn't be the same in 5 to 10 years. Like things are
yeah,
changing so fast.
because they do they change so fast. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. But I guess that's just part of it, right? It's part of
Mhm.
the whole experience. So you never really
Mhm.
stop learning. It's certainly not the world that Klimt created in,
No,
right?
no.
Or Monet, or like
Yeah.
when I read about how long it took Monet to paint his last piece and he never really felt like it was done and people just had to come and take it away from him. I'm just like, wow, to just do that is you can't do that anymore.
Mhm. Yeah, it's
I
it's
feel
definitely
like,
a different world now. Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
definitely. It's so different than it was.
Mhm.
Even just, and it really, like, that's not even that long ago. Like 100 years ago isn't really not that long ago, but the world has changed significantly in
Yeah,
that
but
time.
I also feel that there's a lot of more opportunities for artists because it has changed so much and
Mm,
because of the like technology and the internet,
hmm.
like there's
Yeah.
definitely a lot more opportunity. The trick is to like parse through all that information because
Hmm.
so much information
It
and
is. Hmm.
identifying the things that are a good fit for you and that you feel will help grow your career. Like instead of submitting to say 100 galleries or something, like pick the
Hmm.
ones that you feel are a good fit with your work and
Hmm.
that you feel you could have a good working relationship with. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that
I know
way,
that
yeah.
I know
Mhm.
that's been a trick for me because I'm in Canada, and so there was a time when shipping stuff wasn't a big deal, but now shipping has become a really big deal,
Mhm.
um, and more difficult. And I've found that like it's hard to do even that little thing,
Mhm.
shipping to and from for galleries. And it's made me more picky and choosy.
Mhm.
And I don't know if that's the same when you're in the States. Do you find that you still kind of have to think about that, or do you
Yeah.
feel a lot more free
No,
in what you pick?
it's definitely a consideration.
Hmm.
Because shipping can be expensive. It's one of
Hmm.
the reasons why I like there's opportunities overseas,
Right,
but I don't apply to those because the shipping would be astronomical. Plus the
right.
fact that it's just to ship the painting for them to take a look at it in person and then decide
Oh,
if it's gonna go in or not. And then if it doesn't go in,
right.
guess what? You have to pay for the
Ship it
return
back.
shipping.
Yeah.
And that's
That's
too
crazy. I
much.
didn't know anybody still did that. I thought a lot of
Yeah.
people just do digital, just review things digitally now.
Yeah, there are a few places overseas where they ask you to do that.
Mm,
And yeah, that's why I don't do it because it's just the cost of it, just for
mm,
the off
hmm.
chance that it might get into that show. It's like,
It's very prohibitive,
yeah,
I find.
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
agree. It is tricky to make that choice.
Mm.
Um, are there uh, organizations that you found to be really helpful? Like, I don't know if you're part of the American Portrait Society or anything like that, where it's kind of helped propel you.
Well, I was in the Portrait Society a few years back.
Hmm.
I'm no longer there, but I did find that they do have opportunities for artists.
Hmm.
Also, I'm with Poets Artists, so
Right.
they're
Hmm.
yeah they're the
That's good.
membership, run
Yep.
by Didi Menendez, and
Mm-hmm.
there's like a lot of opportunities there, and also a really
Yep.
nice community there.
Mm-hmm.
So I find that those two are the ones that I've been most involved with.
Yep.
And yeah, with Poets Artists in particular, it's really nice because they're always putting out opportunities for shows and for showing your
Mm-hmm.
work both in person and online.
Mm-hmm.
So I find that to be really helpful. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's
Hmm.
good. You're finding
Hmm.
your people there.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. It's always good to hear what is working for people and what
Hmm.
is because yeah, it's probably a very different crowd. Hey, like the I feel like the Portrait Society does a lot of like life, like from life painting kind of thing, if I'm correct. Um, I'm also really curious, have you ever applied for the ARC salon?
Oh, the ARC, the ARC. So yeah, I
Yeah.
was applying for it a few years back, and I actually did end up as a semi-finalist
Oh,
in
cool. Yeah.
in a few of them.
Hmm.
I did stop submitting to them because their entry fee did go up a
Went
lot.
up a lot. I know. And
Yeah.
I thought I always look at the entry fee of every year. I'm like, can I do it? No, nope.
Hmm.
No, not this year. I don't know. I find that that's like the biggest reason why I don't enter into a lot
Hmm.
of those sorts of things. Um, and just for anyone who's watching, I believe once I converted it to Canadian dollars, I want to say that the submission fee was around $600.
Wow.
Yeah, from
Wow.
last year. And I was like, wow, like no,
That's
because they do have
crazy.
like a minimum requirement of submissions that you
Hmm.
have to do. And I think this was right after their AI controversy too,
Oh, yeah.
where it
Yeah, I
was
remember
like,
that.
yeah, where it was like, I thought this, it just seemed very the opposite of what you would expect from the art renewal center.
Mm.
Uh, but that being said, that fee was the thing that was the most prohibitive, I found. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, I think probably shuts down a lot of really good artists from
Hmm.
submitting to a show like that.
Yeah, it just filters them out because
Mhm.
yeah, like who can afford a $600 entry fee?
Yeah, well, obviously
Maybe,
not me.
yeah,
I
not
kind
me
of
either.
balk at the
Yeah,
$50 submission fees. I'm like, oh,
yeah.
and I like will be very picky, choosy with those too because you can only do so many in a year,
Mhm.
and it
Yeah,
has to be
exactly.
something that's at least do something for you rather
Hmm.
than just go in the pot for the
Yeah,
award.
yeah. That's why I've
So,
become really picky and really choosy about the ones that I submit to
hmm,
because I only have so much budget for it,
yeah. And
and
I see it as
also,
marketing.
mhm,
I see
yeah.
like that's kind of how I think of it. But yeah, if it's not going to do anything for me, I don't.
Yeah. And also, I feel like some, like, you take a look at the work that is being accepted and you
Hmm.
ask yourself, do I see my work here? Like, do I see it like fitting in with
Hmm.
this group of works? And if the answer is no, then it's like, why are you submitting there then? Like,
Yeah.
go with a competition or with a show that is similar to what you're working with because again it contributes to that sense of cohesiveness and
Right.
yeah
Hmm.
of your work fitting in and it being cohesive overall. um,
Hmm.
yeah, that's why I want to submit to the Beautiful Bizarre prize because
Hmm.
they're more like pop surrealism, and
Right.
like
Yeah.
this mystical, they're more into that side of things, and I
Right.
feel like my work fits fits better there. So
Hmm.
that's one thing to consider too when you're like
Hmm.
looking for competition. competitions or applying for shows
Absolutely.
is how does your work fit in
Hmm.
with the work that's already there.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And I think one of the other things that I've started paying more attention to in the last little while is paying attention to how it changed life for the winner.
Mm,
Did it change? Did it move the bar for them at all? And if it didn't, then I'm like, no, I'll just hold on to my money. Like
yeah.
there's definitely that. I can't speak to the Beautiful Bazaar Prize. Um, I do think that they promote their artists really well.
Mm,
But there are some other prizes on the more national scale where I've purposefully never entered them because I don't think that it benefits me
mm,
in any way or the winners at all
mm.
because
Yeah.
it just doesn't there it's not like it's not even the caliber, it's that the website itself, it
Mm,
if they don't link it back to the artist or they don't, like it never really seems to move the needle for the artist. That's another parameter I started to look at where I'm like, it's not really doing anything for
mm.
them as the
Yeah.
winner, then
Then it's like, why am I gonna apply? Yeah.
right? Yeah, why bother? Um,
So,
yeah.
it,
I don't know. It's
yeah.
definitely shut down a lot of me trying
Mm,
trying to get into awards.
mm.
So maybe that's not a great way to be, but that's been kind of
Well,
my journey.
I think it's
Yeah.
it's about being discerning, and I think being
Hmm.
discerning about what you apply for, and
Hmm.
yeah, thinking in those terms, like doing the research and seeing is this really going to be a benefit, or if
Hmm.
this is just like say like a vanity project for them, you know?
Yeah. A
Yeah.
lot like with publishers now too, where the author pays the
Mm,
publisher to publish their work. I feel like a lot of art things are going that direction,
mm,
where it's very much pay to play, and
yeah.
that just that doesn't interest me at all. Like, I don't think that's to me that's it's either nepotism where you have to have a lot of money to just be in it, or you're just yeah, it's a like you say a vanity project.
Yeah. Yeah. And me personally, it's like it's not worth it for me.
No, no, and it's
Yeah.
certainly not finding you those genuine people who want to
Yeah.
collect your work.
Yeah, and those connections. Yeah. Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Well, we're going on 2.5 hours here.
2.5 hours.
It's amazing how fast that flies. But
Yeah.
so I think we kind of touched a little bit on. I know I have a link to your Instagram. I can add
Mhm.
more links if you want.
Mhm.
But where is the number one place you would like people to come and see your work? Because I don't show people the work. We've talked a lot about it, but
Mhm.
I really want people to go and engage with the pieces and read those captions and kind of take in the work. Where would you like them to go?
Well, I think right now the best place would be my Instagram. So,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
it's Aixa_Oliveras.
Mm-hmm.
So there, like they can get a sense of what I share, what I work on, and then the secondary place would be my website where they can find, well, bigger pictures for one thing, bigger pictures of
Mm-hmm.
my work.
Yeah.
Um, and also more information about my work and a more complete picture of the paintings that I've worked on are on my website. So those two places
Okay.
really. Mhm.
Yeah. All
Yeah.
right. Yeah. We'll definitely go do that. Check out Aixa's work and yeah, follow along. And if you want some mentorship, some guidance,
Mhm.
contact her and get on her schedule because
Yes.
it sounds like it would be very helpful for anybody who's struggling with that next step. So
Yes, definitely.
yeah.
Because I'm here to help and to help people like get to that next level, what they're struggling with, helping them with that, and really reach their potential as artists. Yeah.
Hmm. Wonderful. Well, thanks for coming on and for chatting with
Um,
me and reaching across the time barriers
yeah.
to have this little chat. And I wish you all the best in your new project because yeah, that's a big undertaking, mentoring artists.
Hmm.
Mhm.
But thank you so much. Thank you for having me
Yeah.
over. This was really
Dude.
fun. And yeah,
Yeah.
thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. All right. Well, thanks everyone. And tune in next week for
Mhm.
another Living Artist chat. I have to check my schedule to see who it is because I don't remember. I don't remember a lot of things. Um, but I have noticed that more and more and more, I think I've just been finding female artists. So I I think the next chat is with um Alyssa Walber, and she is a figurative watercolor artist that I met when I was doing a mentorship with now I can't remember her name. Um with this incredible watercolor artist. Oh shoot, what was her name? She does these frescoes. And I just have the hardest time with names. Um, but anyways, Alyssa's lovely and I can't wait to chat with her too. So it's turning out to just be ladies all summer.
Good.
So tune back in for more lady artists.
That's great.
And
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Hmm.
super fun. So yeah. Well, you have a great day and we'll be sure to be in touch.
All right. Sounds
Yeah.
good. And yeah,
All
we'll
right.
keep in touch.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Bye, everyone. Thanks for
Bye.
joining us.